When you go into a meeting, the first thing you should do, wow, you can reinvent yourself. I can completely reset. If you want to have, longevity in this career, in this business, or maybe even you're looking to a pivot and want to do something else one day.
Hi, and welcome to Women's League. I am Abby Chin. She is Naoko Funayama, and we are so excited to be here for our first episode. I'm even more excited to introduce you to our first guest, Michele Steele. She works for ESPN, and I don't think there's something she doesn't do. She's a reporter of all different kinds of sports. She also is a podcast host. She's a SportsCenter anchor. She's amazing.
Incredible capacity, super confident, super smart. So I really appreciated this talk with her.
There are so many little nuggets of advice in our conversation that I will take with me, not just professionally, but for the rest of my life. So we hope you enjoy our conversation with Michele Steele. And here she is, Michele Steele, without a doubt, the most versatile reporter on ESPN's roster. Michele, thank you so much for being here.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe that I finally made it onto this podcast.
Yes, also very funny. Sarcastic, if you will. All right, Michele, we want to
By the way, the one thing I hate about sports, let's just start in a positive place.
Okay.
And it's not just sports, but it's TV in general, it's broadcast in general, is people will say things, and I want to include coaches in this, the coach postgame, the player pregame availability, things that people say into a microphone in front of a large group of other people. I don't know what it is about that dynamic that makes things that people say like 75% funnier than they would be in real life.
I had no idea where you're going with this.
I know.
But I am, Michele, the most guilty person, and you can hear it on every single Celtics record.
I can so see that. I need to watch
so
Celtics
loud.
pregame.
Oh my gosh, my laugh is so loud, so over the top. I'm just like, Joe Mazzulla. Oh my gosh, you are a riot,
No, you know what,
man?
Now that is a funny example that
Gary
you're giving.
Washburn of the Globe.
Why do we do that though?
Gary Washburn of the Globe makes so much fun of me. He's like, really, Abby? Really? I'm also, Michele, super guilty that if anyone knows my name and then repeats it back to me after my question, I'm like, well, that's my favorite. That guy's the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacques Vaughn, my favorite coach of all time.
That is genuinely funny. But I was talking to Brian Windhorst the other day about this, and he said, now he doesn't have the time because, of course, he's Brian Windhorst, like he's extremely busy. But you could put a supercut together of all of LeBron's press conferences where people are just uproariously laughing at something LeBron said that's like mildly humorous. Okay, now we know who it is.
It's me.
But it's nice though, here's the deal, Abby. You're a good audience. You're a good audience.
Exactly.
Because in an audience, you need people to be responsive. Can I ask you though, I know you have a good sense of humor. Do you do that on purpose? Like, do you laugh a little bit extra loud because,
totally.
Maybe coach will call on me on the next question?
No, I don't know if it's that. I think it's that I innately want people to be comfortable, and I want people to laugh at my jokes. So I assume that you want people to laugh at yours.
Like it's a conversation tactic.
Yeah,
but
I'm
do you think it works that way? Like if you laugh at their jokes, they're going to laugh at your jokes?
I mean, I feel good about it. It doesn't work that way with Joe Mazzulla, but I can only control myself and what I put into a conversation. So,
But it's definitely true, like, right? Like you want them to be comfortable. So you kind of are just like egging them on.
And we talk all the time. We want athletes to be as genuine and authentic as possible. So if you think that you're funny, you're going to sit there and make more jokes, right?
Yes.
And tell better stories.
For entertainment. Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Totally.
I don't know. I think that you would be just as successful in terms of making people comfortable if you were just totally serious. If you were totally serious, totally stone-faced. And here's why, because I think people would approach you differently, which is, I need to actually try hard around her because she's so serious.
Interesting.
So sometimes I do think that laughing less is might be an interesting exercise, an interesting sort of behavioral exercise to do in a workplace. But I think it also, though, and Abby, I think I'm on your wavelength here, it also runs headlong into what our instinct is.
Yes, that is completely counter to what my
Your instinct
instincts
is.
and my natural. Yes.
Because you're a people pleaser.
Yes.
You're a pleaser.
I am.
I'm a pleaser. And
I'm
I
curious,
think,
why did you think of this? Why did you think of the whole concept of, laughing at something that's not funny or that's not maybe seen as universally funny except for when there's a mic? Like, why did you think of that? Was there a
I thought
particular
of it
moment?
because I'm on a podcast right now.
Mm.
And we started out this podcast laughing. And it wasn't that funny, Naoko.
Well, now I'm laughing. Look, my reaction is every time
I made you laugh by not laughing. By the way, saying something is not funny is almost always funny. Saying something
In
is
this
funny
setting?
is almost always never funny. If you say something, Naoko, go home
Yeah.
to your family and have someone, if someone does something, you should say that's not funny.
I mean, it's also the setting and that we are three women who.
No, but that is why I thought of it. Naoko, I'm telling you, I'm being genuine. Like, that is why I thought of it. Because I think we were laughing about something and it wasn't funny.
Oh, that's so interesting. But you know what?
Pretty
Okay,
sure it
here's
wasn't.
an
Abby.
idea.
Well, by the way, this is an opportunity for you on the podcast. You need to rewind the tape. Show it now. Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe that I finally made it onto this podcast. Okay, now we're back. See, you guys, I told you it wasn't funny.
Although, okay, in what you just said, I can completely relate to when you said, oh, people might think of us as being younger because we're shorter. I actually just had this conversation with another,
because
we're shorter.
People are always so small.
He's so small. And I actually had this conversation with somebody recently, and I was like,
Look at the Celtics. Just kidding.
It's completely underrated what a disadvantage being short is in sports.
But Naoko, you can always, but don't you feel like people will be deferential? Don't you think that to an extent people are deferential towards the shorties because you guys can make it to the front? There's not going to be a shoving match because people are like, make room for Naoko. You know what I'm saying?
No, but okay, for example, my friend Catherine Tappan, she's 5'10", and then she wears heels, and now she's looking players eye to eye while she's interviewing them, right? Like, I would never be able to do that, let alone know what that's like. Like, it's always like this weird dynamic where the athlete is looking down and I'm looking up at them, always. I mean,
Yeah,
especially
but I tend to
because
sit down sometimes. Sometimes we do talk side by side, and then I actually have a long torso for my height, so it kind of
You and
that
Britney
matches
Spears
up there. Thank you. I'll take that.
advantage of the long torso.
First of all, Catherine Tappan is 5'10". That's crazy.
It's amazing.
I know. She's
You can't tell on TV. She looks 6 inches high.
Michelle. Okay,
Yeah,
we
okay.
digress.
Okay.
No, we want to talk
Let's
about
go back
you.
to
No.
Michelle
Hold
Steele.
on. Now go. First of
Okay.
all, let's go around the horn really quickly. Just please tell me your height. Wait. Tell me your fake height, and I
Okay.
will guess.
Okay.
I'll guess
What do you
higher
mean
or
fake
lower.
height?
Fake
Let's
height,
make
okay.
this, because guys, here's the deal. I want your podcast to be successful. And in
Thank you.
today's day and age, that means you need to pair up with a sports betting company, right? So let's go. Let's do over under on this. So you tell me a fake height, and then I'm
That
going
was
to
funny.
guess.
That was
but it's
funny.
got to
I'm
be kind
laughing.
of realistic.
It's funny.
And then I'm going to guess
Okay.
over or under,
Okay.
and then give me
it.
like $5 if I win.
5'4".
Under.
And now do I wear
How old are you? Yeah, for real.
I'm 5'2" on a good day.
Yes!
I knew it.
You did it. You
Okay.
win. You owe me $5.
Oh,
Abby.
okay, I owe you 5. I'll bet
Abby,
you.
My
I
fake height?
should know this, but I'm actually not positive how tall you are. I should know this, but like I'm not 100% positive.
5'6".
Under.
Yeah, wait.
Ah.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
You did way too
5'3".
tall.
5'3" and a half. It's not that much.
But if we said 5'3", we should probably have said 5'3".
Hold on, Michelle. I'm really proud, but I still have my half. I was 5'3.5", and I have not shrunk yet.
That's coming. Okay. You do me.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to give us
Yeah.
5'3".
I should know too. I talk to you all the time. Under.
I'm going to go over.
Naoko.
Whoa. Are you taller than
I'm
me?
like 5'3.25".
I'm
literally like a feather, tiny little like thing over 5'3".
shorter than me.
You know what though, Michelle? Like I've had people see me on TV and then meet me and they're like, "Oh, you're so much smaller in person."
Hey, that's
that's a
better
common
than
refrain.
that's better than like, oh, you're so much prettier in person. But that's good because you walked. I think it's good to have a tall vibe. You know,
Totally.
like the fact that people
in
are saying that
sports.
about you is
Yeah.
really good, Naoko, because that means that you have a tall vibe.
Oh, thank you. My day is made though.
I do scrunch in on the group interviews, though. I am short enough, as long as I'm not wearing heels, that I go under the cameras, especially for the NBA guys. So I can be anywhere.
I don't know. I think most guys, especially in the NBA, are used to people being a lot, like significantly shorter. So I don't necessarily feel, in terms of relating to athletes, I don't necessarily feel like it's a huge disadvantage. I think it is a disadvantage in the workplace. I think relating to your colleagues and peers, it can be a disadvantage. I remember my first day at ESPN. I didn't know where I was going. I don't know why. I still don't quite remember why I did this, but I had some free time in the afternoon, and at that time I worked in Bristol, as Abby has worked in Bristol in the past. So I had some free time, and this is now crazy, I think, what I did, but I just walked into a room where they were having a meeting, and I sat down. This was my first week at ESPN.
Just a
Did
random.
I know what the
conference
meeting
room?
was about? No. I mean, and it wasn't like I was trying to make trouble or anything. I just did not know. I really didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And like on our floor, it was the basement of Building 4. On our floor, there were a lot of meeting rooms. And I just thought, hey, I'm going to learn about this company and like go to some meetings.
And how'd it go? What'd you learn?
That's
I
so
sat-
brave.
I'm bold. Yeah.
I mean, you guys, when I went to ESPN, I was like, this is like, I've completely reset because I was at Bloomberg News, Bloomberg Television
Right.
before. And I just thought, wow, you can reinvent yourself. I can completely reset. Nobody knows who I am and vice versa. And we can all learn about each other. And ESPN is a completely new company. It's so big. Like, let me just walk into some meetings. So, and I did not think it was a bold decision at the time.
So was your plan to just be the woman who walks into random meetings? You're just that person?
I don't know if I think calling it a plan is giving me too much credit. I do think that I had some free time in the afternoon. I didn't know what I should have been doing at that time. And so I saw a meeting taking place and thought, let me just go into this meeting. And I sat down next to someone who introduced himself to me, and his name was John Skipper,
Oh my gosh.
this CEO of ESPN.
You walked into like an executive team meeting for ESPN and just sat down?
I walked into a meeting. It was either the launch or it was some kind of like post-game meeting, like post-launch for ESPNW, because ESPNW had been a brand at that time that they were trying to get off the ground because they knew that sponsors and advertisers, and by the way, really quick thing, maybe this
This
is
was, by the
helpful
way,
to
tell people how long ago this was, because women's sports finally just now taking off.
this was like end of 2011, beginning of 2012.
Amazing.
So when you are building a business, everybody thinks of the audience, right? Who is this
You hope so.
for? I'm sure you guys have spent a long time thinking about that. We're not going to get into that right now. But you also should think about, when you're building a business, who is looking to reach this audience? Who am I selling to so that I can pay my bills? And ESPNW was conceived in a smart business way, which is, hey, we need sponsors and advertisers are literally coming to us. You guys, don't you feel like it was good? I went to this meeting. Now I know all these things. So sponsors and advertisers are literally going to us and saying, we are looking for a way. We're looking for a female play in the sports market. SportsCenter can deliver XYZ% audience. XYZ% of that audience is male. We're looking for an audience that skews female. And by the way, this is the abridged version. And also, this is the unofficial version. I do not want people to construe this as I'm speaking on behalf of ESPN or ESPNW. I'm just telling you what I learned in that meeting, which is that ESPNW was a way for people to, but by the way, this relates to the whole size thing. The first thing so I introduced myself to John Skipper and I said, good to meet you, Michele Steele, relatively recent hire. And what should I know? And he told me what you should know is when you go into a meeting, the first thing you should do is you should look at your seat, find the part of your seat that moves up and down, and move it to the highest level. And by the way, I don't know if you've ever met John Skipper, Abby.
I have not.
When you were in Bristol. Tall man. Doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Still does it.
Wow.
And after he told me that, I did that for the rest of my career, even now. Like when I go into a meeting. Did he tell
you why in the moment?
The first thing I do, what?
Did he tell you why in the moment? Like why you should do that?
That's the position of power.
I think I understood why. You were taking up space. You're taking up space and people will literally look up to you.
Okay, but Michele, this is wonderful life advice and I really appreciate it. It is changing my view of things. But what if your feet can't touch the ground then?
So the other thing that I started doing after that time is if I'm at ESPN, if I am at ESPN, 9 times out of 10, I am wearing heels.
Really?
You are not catching me. You are not catching me in
This is
casual
I am
wear.
the exact opposite. I am the opposite. I only wear sneaks now until I have to talk to the tall people and they have to be able to fit us in the same street.
Now, I think the distinction there is that you are covering a game and you are on your feet. And you're going to give yourself major problems if you are wearing heels the entire time. And of course, there's going to be an exception for that. I should qualify my comments on size. If you see me at ESPN, meaning like if I am in Bristol, I'm wearing heels.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm on the sidelines of an NFL game, I've got Thursday night football, Steelers at Browns on Thursday, I'm probably going to be wearing a more comfortable shoe. But then as we get closer to the game, I will change into something at least that has a heel. I'm not going to be wearing anything crazy. We're not talking about like 4-inch, 5-inch, but it'll be like a little bit, at least a chunk.
Yeah, interesting.
So I can go from 5'3" to 5'4", 5'5". No, but I do think but even doing it for me is like enough of a psychological boost.
Such good advice. Yeah.
It helps. And you know what? And look at John Skipper today. No, I'm just kidding. No, but like he did have a very successful
from that
career.
conversation
Yeah,
with
he's
you.
doing stuff at Meadowlark. We're happy for him. But I do feel like the advice that he gave me on the first day that I walked into a meeting I certainly did not belong in, ended up being advice that I took with me for the rest of my career. And I think taking up space matters in how you relate to people, and being confident matters in how you relate to people, right? And Abby, you know so much about, you are a walking information repository of like just basketball knowledge and Celtics knowledge. Like you have that confidence imbued in who you are, whereas I'm, parachuting into new situations and teams I've never covered all the time, and having that little literal boost helps me.
And I feel like that's also why the clothes matter. That's why the hair and makeup matter too, because particularly for
totally.
women, it is something that gives you the confidence to walk into a room, own that space, and then also feel like just take an edge off the imposter syndrome for whatever that is. Whatever you can do to give yourself that boost.
I'm so totally stuck on the fact that
totally.
you like walked into an executive meeting just being like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk in and
I would
take a
not do
seat
that
and-
today. I don't think, but
I'm also amazed. Yes, you come from a business background. That's amazing.
Oh, so
wait,
what does that mean? So I come from a business background, meaning
So
like
was there
I've
some
I've
strategic?
met these guys. Like I've met people in the C-suite, and they're normal. And if you want to have, longevity in this career, in this business, or maybe even you're looking to a pivot and want to do something else one day, I follow, for me, having biz riz and being able to relate to people who work as decision makers is important. And I certainly wouldn't walk into a meeting now because they have to get stuff done. But back then I was like, let's do this.
Did John Skipper know who you were from that moment on? Like,
Yeah, I bet he did. Because it was such a bold move.
do you feel like
You know
that
what?
played something into your
Weirdly enough,
longevity?
I don't know. I don't know. We did speak on a handful of occasions after that point, but we weirdly never referenced that. I think he thought I was supposed to be in that meeting. I never said, "Hey, what am I doing here?" I just sort of sat there. I just sat there. And so he assumed, when you're running a company as large as ESPN, you're not getting into the granular details of like, so, okay. It looks like Abby is here. Naoko also here. Like he's not taking attendance, But
Right.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a wild being the CEO of ESPN, I think, is a very, very demanding, very, very crazy job.
Yeah.
Okay, can we rewind before your bold move of sitting next to John Skipper and just tell us how you got into the business, how you got your start, and why sports?
The long and short of it is that I always wanted to be a journalist. And when I was maybe in 5th or 6th grade, I had wanted to work for the newspaper because my parents got a newspaper every day. We were a Chicago Tribune family, and that just seemed super fun. I worked for the newspaper at my grade school too. And my dad's goddaughter, so we were visiting some family friends who lived in Milwaukee, and that has neither here nor there, but they lived in Milwaukee. Maybe they were Bucks fans. And my dad's goddaughter, is she my god sister? Anyway, so my daughter of a family friend, she wanted to be a broadcast journalist because I guess the parents were talking and they're like, oh, Michelle wants to be a reporter. And she was like, I want to be a TV reporter. And in my mind, I was like, what? Like, that's a job people could get? And so, and ever since then, I was like, okay, I want to work my way towards, because I love, if I hadn't been doing this, I would have wanted to go into entertainment and acting, because I know it's, I know it's show business, not show friends, but I do love, I do love Hollywood. I love studios. I think like a lot of people, you watch movies. I'm a little bit of a ham. I like the performative nature of our job. And
You don't say.
I love I love editing pieces because it's like a movie that you're putting together. So, but when I went to college, I went to state school, I went to University of Illinois, I took one journalism class. I just didn't like it. I simply did not like it. And I took an econ class and I really liked it. I had a really good TA, wasn't even a professor. It was a teaching assistant who did a phenomenal job teaching microeconomics. And I had just enough math under my belt to kind of finish out the degree. And so I was an econ major, which made my parents happy because they didn't want me to be a journalism major. I'm kidding. I'm kind of kidding about that. I think they would have been totally fine with me doing whatever. But you guys know how it is. You know, immigrant parents, like my mom to this day is like, maybe you could start a business. To this day.
Right.
So, which now,
You
know,
could start
I
a
have an
podcast,
I
Michelle.
can,
Yeah.
what?
You know, you could start a podcast.
Yeah, podcast business. Let's
Let
do
your mom
it.
know. Exactly.
The name of it is podcast business.
Finally, your mom will be proud.
Yeah, then my mom will finally be proud of me. It'd be so great. I was pre-med for a hot second. Any other pre-med majors in the room? Any pre-med majors in the room? Okay. So
I was an econ minor though, so that story hits home.
yeah, it was for me. It was organic chem. I took one class and I was like, I gotta go.
Not for me.
Yeah, and then so when I left school, I got a job for the CIA, and then I had a job with Dow Jones.
What? You got a
and
job with the CIA?
I got a job at the CIA, and I was going to work in the Directorate of Intelligence, writing the presidential daily briefing. Believe it or not, and I didn't do that job because the recruiter at Dow Jones, which is a big newspaper, they used to own the Wall Street Journal. I don't think they own it anymore. I believe the Wall Street Journal. In fact, I know the Wall Street Journal is owned by Murdoch, but it used to be owned by the Dow Jones. And the recruiter said, hey, if you take a government job, you will never be able to be a reporter again. JK. There's no rules like that anymore. People, if you want to take a job working for the government and you want to be a reporter later, you totally can. It's a little thing called the revolving door. So I didn't do that. I was freaked out by that, and I always wanted to be a reporter. So I took an internship with the Dow Jones Newspaper Fund that placed me with Bloomberg News. And I was still considering finance. And so the summer before then, I was an intern at Merrill Lynch. I knew about Bloomberg News because the trader I worked for was like always having me go to the Bloomberg terminal. And so I learned that Bloomberg had a news division. So I was like, I'll put that in my brain. Like, that's interesting. And then when Dow Jones made me the internship offer, remember, not a job offer. I had a job in hand from the CIA, but only an internship for Dow Jones. And the recruiter was like, hey,
Did it pay at the time?
Yeah.
The internship.
So my MO was always like, I'm not doing anything for free because work is valuable. And I got, so I got this internship. I asked to be placed with Bloomberg News because I knew that they train people multi-platform. And so that's it. Like, I started at Bloomberg. I did some other business TV stuff. Now, I did end up getting a journalism master's degree because I felt, again, going back to the whole, like, I need a credential. I did get a master's degree from Columbia, and that actually was great because I ended up staying in New York and getting a bunch of opportunities in New York. Bloomberg, I originated the sports position at Bloomberg. That's a story in itself that can wait for the next time I'm on your podcast. And then I went to ESPN, and I've been at ESPN ever since. It's been great.
I love your faith in us that you'll be back.
This podcast business is just a booming.
Do you need a credential, do you think, in this business?
In this business, no. I think you can be extremely good looking and just definitely make your way up, make your way on up, no matter what. That'll help. That's very helpful. No, but I do think that young Michelle, in getting that credential, was prescient in that you can teach later on in your career. And I've been lucky enough to be an adjunct now a couple of times, as are a number of my colleagues. And you can do that at the college level if you have a master's degree, because PhDs in journalism are pretty few and far between. And I like to think that I have a PhD in life experience and things of that nature.
So at this point in your career, do you have other big dreams or big things you still want to cover that you've never covered before, places you want to go, turns you want your career to take?
My number one goal is to be with you guys in that pink room that looks like a little bit Pepto-Bismol, a little bit Bubblicious behind you.
I like this color. It works
Yeah,
well
it
with
does
our
look like you're
skin
about. It
tone.
looks like you're about to like lead a jazzercise class, maybe.
Michelle.
I like this color. Or maybe like a Barbie.
Should we go
like
more?
Some sort of,
should we
like,
go cooler, like a little more purple? You think we should tone
to
down
me,
the pink?
it looks pink. To me, it looks pink, but I love it
okay.
because we're ladies. That's
How
what-
did you enjoy
color
my
ladies
serious
like.
face while you're trying to be funny? Did
How
that
did I enjoy
work
what?
for you? My serious face while you're making jokes. Did that work for you?
But you know what? In my mind, I was like, Abby is so serious right now. I need to like butter her up.
See?
No,
We've
I
come
really
full
don't
circle.
have any more goals. I really don't. I mean, it really is just at this point. No, I'm kidding. In terms of goals, it really is just keeping to for me, it's continuing to contribute, create value for ESPN through storytelling, build franchises there, because I think we're in an era where the media landscape, in fact, I don't think this, I know we're in an era where the media landscape is completely turning upside down. And I think there's a lot of opportunities, even for legacy companies who think in an entrepreneurial way. So I am trying to learn a lot and trying to network a lot with people who are building interesting things within this ecosystem. And I just met a woman at a conference I was at last week. I don't know when this is going out, so maybe it was last week, maybe it was last year, who funds, she's got a venture capital fund through hers, which is a 20% owner of ESPN, where they are putting money only into female founders. And the reason they're putting money into female founders is because nobody puts money into female founders. Only 2% of all venture capital goes to female founders, which is totally, I just learned this, which is totally mind-blowing to me, because here you have literally over actually 50% of the population whose ideas are not being invested in, right? So how are we going to create a structure to invest in good, period, not just female period, but just like period T, how are we going to invest in this group of really actually underserved people, which is a female audience? So I'm excited about that. Maybe that's the next chapter for me. Maybe that's a goal. How can we do that within ESPN? I've been doing more WNBA stuff. I have a story coming out soon about the Professional Women's Hockey League. So just in terms of those goals, like professional goals, those are things that I'm thinking seriously about at this time. But in terms of like, oh, I'd love to be at another Super Bowl, of course, like I think that goes without saying. One day I would like to be at the Olympics. That actually is like a Abby, you've done it so many times now. I'm like
Once.
so
Did it once.
jelly.
Naoko's been there.
My
Yep.
colleague, Coley went to Paris over the summer, and he covered the Olympics for ESPN. So just putting that out into the ether. I'm speaking that into existence.
Michelle, thank you so much. I feel like I learned.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So much.
To take this into
You guys. And by the way,
future.
that was totally
Yes.
improvised. I did not script most of it. Just kidding. No, I didn't script any of it. This was really good.
The way you started, I wanted to let you know that you weren't sitting next to John Skipper at that very moment, or Jimmy Pitaro, for that matter.
Even though my
But
chair is all the way high, as high as it can be.
No, I
If
didn't
it's
do that.
amazing.
You know, I'm just gonna like
I know
lift
you
every
guys.
single chair.
I know. I
if
can't
they're
wait to. I
non-adjustable.
can't wait to see episode 2, where it's just like you guys are just like this. Hi, everybody.
like-
Welcome to our podcast.
yeah, exactly.
I can't. I can't wait for the next Celtics report. I'm Abby Chin.
Hello, I have grown 7 inches. The camera can't even capture me in this.
Thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for doing
has
this.
been such a
Thank you
delight.
so much for trying something new. I think we are in an era where we're always thinking about podcasts.
We are female founders. I just want to
You
put
guys
that
are
out there
female
for
founders.
you.
I'm
For this-
sending you like a spiritual $1 billion.
Thank you. And for your next franchise, please consider us in whatever venture
No, but
you have
seriously,
going forward.
Everybody thinks about a podcast, especially because there's like a proliferation of podcasts, but you need to start. You just need to start. Everybody wants to have their own thing. They want their own brand or what have you, but you don't have one unless you start. You just start somewhere. And so I really respect you guys for doing this. This is great.
You sound like our other co-founder, Zach Milliken. Shout out to Zach, making all of this possible. Also, I'm going to cry, and it still felt like a backhanded compliment, Michelle, so I'm not going to laugh.
Oh, well, it's a success if there's tears.
Michelle, thank you. I love you, and I miss you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. What a way to start. Michelle bringing the heat, that perspective coming from Bloomberg, and the fact that she was around CEOs every day, and that made her unintimidated arriving at ESPN. I can't imagine.
Confidence. I love her confidence. It was so inspiring. I also am going to raise my chair up at every conference, every meeting, every conference room, whatever the case. Okay.
I think I'm going to do that at Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Just so everyone knows. Yes, exactly. So we really appreciate Michelle for her time, and we're just hoping that every conversation, which I'm pretty sure will, but reaches the standard that Michelle has set for us. We hope you enjoyed it as well, but we can't have these conversations if you're not involved. We want to hear from you. Do you have any questions for us? Any questions for other women in the business? We want to get them answered, and we also just want to talk to you.
Yeah, so send us a comment, send us a note, hit like, subscribe, all of the above, and we'll see you next time.